You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene. Johnson.
The AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California. Presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Doctor Who After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Doctor Who After Show.
Hey there, Whovians. You know what time it is. You just watched the Doctor Who Christmas special, and you want to listen to some great fans talk about it. You want to hear your voice heard. We're here talking about it. I am Matt Lieberman. We're talking about the Time of the Doctor. It's a Season 7 Christmas special. It's the second Season 7 Christmas special. It's the season that will never end, although it actually just ended, which is kind of great. I am here with a fantastic panel of Whovians. We got Yael Tygiel.
Hello.
Megan Salinas.
Hey, everybody.
And Gian Molina.
I love this theme.
Yeah.
I love that we're talking over this theme.
I know. It just makes you feel rad. We can just boogie for a
And
hot
I'm glad
second.
that I'm in studio this time as opposed to...
I know. We're
It's
so
great
glad to have you here.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Missed you.
All right.
Missed all of you.
So, what is today? Today is December 30th. So everyone around the globe has had 5 days to digest this special, and I've heard a lot from fans, you know, people who loved it, people who, you know, maybe their expectations were a little too high, or they were expecting a different episode. There was a lot of it that I really, really liked. I thought it was a fitting send-off for Matt Smith, who, for a lot of people, you know, he was their doctor. I mean, I know in my experience, I came on to the show, I started watching in Series 4, like Tennant's last series, but he was Matt Smith was the first Doctor that I saw his run in its entirety as it aired. You know, there's a level of ownership that people have when that's, you know, their first Doctor, and I think a lot of people were very satisfied with how he left the show. What did you guys think?
I think it was very appropriate. It felt like a farewell. I said goodbye. Everything was taken care of. Everything was wrapped up in a nice little bow. It was just the greatest way to send him off and move on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. There were definitely parts that I wasn't expecting it necessarily, but there were definitely parts that hit me with lots and lots of feels, and I like. So, and they all the when we were watching it, the nods you were talking about to all the fans throughout the special, I thought that was really great too.
Yeah, there was
so
a lot
great.
of fan service throughout.
Yeah.
What do you think, Gia?
Oh, I love... I feel like they gave Smith a really great moment where he kind of looked into the camera and was like, you know, I'm the doctor. You know, I'm the doctor. And it's so cool to give him that homage. And I feel like the 50th anniversary episode, I feel that gave us the separation between 10 and 11, like for the Tennant fans and the Matt Smith fans.
Two great tastes that taste great together.
Exactly, and you know, he's our fun doctor. He's our almost like a childlike doctor, and to the way they wrapped up his whole run as the Doctor, I think was fitting, great, and you know, he did well. He is forever to me like one of the better Doctors.
Oh yeah. And I think that, you know, Stephen Moffat, I don't know if he's ever outright said this, but his approach to the series thus far with Matt Smith has been kind of that of a fairy tale. You launch into this story with Amy, the girl who waited, and it feels more like a fairy tale than hard sci-fi. And I felt like for this episode to be the last episode was very fitting in that regard. It felt like we were listening to and watching this, you know, kind of like time-worn Christmas story.
Yes.
Versus like, you know, an epic sci-fi blockbuster, which we got with The Day of the Doctor.
Which I think why the expectation was high for that.
Yeah.
I feel like that because we got such a great just battle with the 50th anniversary. I felt like, well, if we're gonna end Smith's run. Like I felt like it was gonna be the same way.
Yeah, you think it's going to be this big, active, showy episode, especially with all of the mythology that Stephen Moffat has built up over, what, now 3 years, 4 years, that climax in this episode, the Trenzalore mythology, the question, the silence, wrapping it all up as neatly as possible in a bow, in a bow tie,
there's a lot
if you
to
will.
work with there.
Yeah, a lot to work with, a lot of meat on that bone. You think, it's going to be this big epic battle. We see it alluded to, but, there's budgetary constraints, there's time constraints, and it was really more of a kind of a somber, sweet swan song. It was an hour-long farewell. It was an hour-long farewell instead of being more of a standalone story.
I think your description of the fairy tale is so fitting with it being a town called Christmas and the narration of it and the whole. That's just the greatest. I'm sad that I didn't think of that. That is great.
Well, no, with you mentioning that, the first time I watched it, I really liked the poem that they used. Yeah. Now that you've said that and put it in that context of it being like a story, that using that poem makes even more sense. And the first time watching through, Clara reading that poem was my favorite part. And now I like it even more.
Yeah.
And I think had they not dangled the war in front of us or an epic battle in front of us, and they just maybe focused on that story, fairy tale aspect, I think that might have hit a little harder. Because I know from the people that I know that weren't too thrilled about the episode, that was something that they felt that what was happening, there was parts that they felt were either not boring, but it just, the war never happened, but it was dangled. It was like, it was going to happen, it didn't happen, and then we got these sweet moments. I felt like if we just maybe focus on that a little more, that might have been a little bit more fitting.
Yeah, the story that was set up at the top of the episode is not the story that we wound up getting.
Right.
And, there were a few times where I wondered for a hot second, where is this going to go? Because we open with, the Doctor already kind of in conflict. He wanders onto this Dalek ship by accident. He's talking to a Cyberman head. R.I.P. Handles, big love up there. And, it's odd. I love Handles, don't get me wrong. I love Handles, but, all of the meat that went into us getting attached to this Cyberman head that you then kill off, could have been used for more action. Could have been used to maybe make some information dumpy parts of the episode a little more elegant.
Had more moments with Clara. This. Yeah. I don't. I guess there was so much to put in it, and I guess I'm sure they wanted to make this the most epic farewell for him. So I think, sometimes too much is, less is more.
Yeah.
And they were the victims of that.
It was a more intimate story set against what was supposed to be this big deal that had been set up over many years. Did anyone else think, and for a hot second I wondered if this would actually happen, and if it would have, it probably would have been great. When they land on Trenzalore, and they're surrounded by these weeping angels under the snow, and we'll get into this scene a bit more later because we have some quibbles. And I feel like a lot of people did. For a hot second, I was like, oh man, this is just going to be, this whole planet is swarming with angels, and then it just becomes this epic chase or this crazy siege. And that would be rad.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing.
I thought the whole planet was going to be covered with all of the different monsters. Yeah. I thought he would be like, oh, we just escaped from the angels.
And then boom.
There's Daleks.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be this planet. And that would have been
Which in which case, then you have him escaping all these monsters and maybe wound up in that town fending them off, which I think would have been more of a justified reasoning for him to kind of protect that little town.
Instead of him being there for 600 years, you have an epic standoff.
Nothing.
It's like The Most Dangerous Game meets, what was the name of the third episode this season, the Western one?
A Town Called Mercy.
Town Called Mercy. Everyone's going to hate me. Don't hate me, because I didn't remember. I'm sorry.
It's
they
okay,
all did.
You've got,
that's why I have amazing people here to back me up when I suck. So,
Which is
yeah.
never, so
Oh,
let's keep going.
Gian, you're so sweet. But
I'm off on the couch. So.
But no, it's like it would be A Town Called Mercy meets The Most Dangerous Game, where he's fighting for his life and then the lives of everyone around him, all these innocents. That would have been cool. But ultimately, it's not the story that Stephen Moffat wanted to tell. He wanted to close out this, this fairy tale-like chapter.
He wanted to say goodnight
with a bedtime story, like Raggedy Man Goodnight. That's exactly what it was. It was
was a heart. My heart dropped.
Just
I'm sure everyone.
tears.
I imagined everyone I knew watching this just do that, like that gasp.
I could hear everyone. Oh, because that's the sound I was.
Am I
making.
the only heartless person?
Oh, yeah, you might be.
I didn't cry, and I don't know. I can't explain it.
I didn't cry, but I did.
I didn't
go,
gasp.
"Aw."
I didn't cry.
Well,
I'm sorry.
We'll get more into the regeneration toward a little further on in the show.
Back to the monsters,
But
though.
yeah.
I will say that, and I've been saying this as we were watching it. Had they been a planet where he runs into all different of the monsters, that would have been excellent. But I think what instead they try to do is cram them all in. Like, oh, here's the Weeping Angels, and then we're no longer see them, and we didn't see them at all towards the end either.
Based on the tiny trailer that we got after the 50th anniversary special, Matt and I were talking about it. I was expecting like the Legion of Doom of the Doctor Who villains to
That's
be
what they sold it as.
Isn't that Pandora, like, where they all kind of gang up on the Doctor, kind of work together to defeat the Doctor?
And they were all there, and instead of, kind of coming together and, to try to take down the Doctor, what do? They come down one at a time.
One at a time, sometimes made out of wood. But here's what it just crystallized for me. Okay. They sold it as the Sinister Six, but instead gave us Goodnight Moon.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I think that's the only reason I think people had a problem with it.
Yeah.
It's just that, like, I know Moffat wanted to give the beautiful send-off, the story, advertise that, because we're on board.
Yeah.
We know he's gone. Like, we know that Capaldi's about to come up. If we want to do one of those, say goodnight. But then if you're promising, all these goodies and we don't get them, and then we see what you actually gave us, and it's like, oh, well, I wasn't prepared for okay.
No, it's, just like a parent on Christmas, they're teasing out they have this amazing gift.
And then it's clothes.
Yeah, great.
Underwear and socks. Not that I got that.
And that's the thing, is like every time I watch this episode, I've watched it 4 times now. Every time I watch it, I like it more.
Yeah.
It isn't necessarily what I think fans wanted, especially this season that has gone on now. This is our second Christmas special in season 7. That's bananas. It's insane by any other show's standards. And it's funny, as much as I love Matt Smith, just going back to what you were saying, Yael, earlier, like, I love Matt Smith, but by the end of the season, I was ready to say goodbye and just get on with it.
Yep.
Because the 45 seconds a minute that we had with Peter Capaldi at the end, while he's not doing that much, was more electric than the majority of what we've seen in the last year.
Cannot wait.
Just by the very nature of being different.
Yeah, Matt Smith is great, but I think especially after the 50th anniversary with the promise of Gallifrey and moving forward as opposed to looking back and running away from the past, I think a lot of people were ready for a change. Yeah. And so even though it's hard to say goodbye to Matt Smith, change was needed. And
he made the right decision. He knew not to overstay his welcome.
He's run his course.
He went out at the top of his game, and he gave,
which I felt Tennant did too, and I think they did a bit of a disservice to Matt Smith by prolonging that. I felt they could have, maybe in the 50th, he could have had the regeneration there. I mean, that's just my opinion, because the more we spread out, then things like this happen where it's, we're expecting it, and then the change happens, and we're like, it's not as big as a hit. Because with Tennant, he chose to leave because he felt it was time, and then they gave him a beautiful send off. Everyone tears up.
Oh, yeah.
With
Oh,
10,
yeah.
That
10
one.
to 11. Come on.
Yes.
Like,
Well, when Tennant left, he said, if I did, like, I think he actually said, I don't know what interview this is in, but he's like, if I don't leave now, they're going to have to wheel me out.
yeah.
And he didn't want that. He would prefer, to go out, on a good note.
Well, speaking to your point, Gian, about, maybe we should have just had this happen in the 50th, they couldn't just have one special. They couldn't. The 50th anniversary special, aired on the day that the show originally aired.
Yeah.
You couldn't move that to Christmas, but then also, what's Christmas without a Doctor Who special?
That's true.
And then, what? We're going to have our first Capaldi episode at Christmas,
Probably
and
not.
then nothing, probably till the fall.
Our first
Right.
Tennant episode was Christmas.
That's true, but that was
Yeah.
coming off of the first season. It was a finale.
And I don't think when they
right.
first started that, I don't think anybody anticipated that Eccleston would only stay for a
Right.
season.
Yeah.
So
True.
they sort of had to run with it.
I'm just saying it's been done.
It's been done.
And it was done well.
It was done very,
New
very
teeth.
well.
That's weird.
Yeah.
So, Barcelona.
Yeah. Oh man, the Christmas invasion! What a great episode!
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk for an hour about
Christmas.
how. Well, let's talk about just really quickly, really quickly. Russell T Davies' approach to Christmas specials versus Stephen Moffat's approach to Christmas specials, and I think it goes back to that fairy tale thing versus an epic. And Russell T Davies took the Christmas specials as an opportunity to tell, big, fun, grand stories. Like I'm thinking about the Titanic episode, basically.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, it was just a chance to do like
That
a
was
little
a Christmas
TV,
episode.
TV movie, a TV movie.
That stood alone.
Right.
Yeah.
The Christmas invasion, with the one with the Runaway Bride, all were
The Next Doctor also.
yeah, we're kind of like big TV movies versus, with Stephen Moffat, A Christmas Carol, The Doctor, The Widow, and The Wardrobe. The Snowmen, not so much. That functioned more as like a regular episode.
Right.
That was the start of the season. So.
Yeah, and the
or mid-season.
It was
Mid-season.
kind of their mid-season break.
Start of Clara.
Yeah, the start of Clara. But, this episode, Christmas Carol, Doctor, the Widow, and the Wardrobe, were more like bedtime stories. They were very sweet. They were very intimate stories.
Right.
But this one just happened to have every villain ever in it. And how are you going to be satisfied when you have so many villains? And let's talk about that. So we've got all these monsters. When you have them all together, they're less terrifying.
Yeah.
Because they're not a threat. The Doctor's able to dispatch them quickly so you can get to the next
Well, the
one.
thing
No,
is that-
it's not bringing them all together that makes them less terrifying. It's bringing them all together numerous times.
Yeah.
And, excuse me, Moffat has done that before with the Pandorica, and now again. And I'm sorry, my memory is failing me. Has he done it another time?
Not expressly. I mean, a few different villains showed up in the God complex, but that was just their minds playing with them.
Right.
Well, and I think back to, not to talk too much about the Davies era, but I think back to when you had the Daleks and the Cybermen
Yeah.
together in that two-parter. That was fantastic, and those are just two villains.
See, that to me was the weakest element of that episode. Like, I just thought, to me, I always go back to Dalek. I go back to season 1, Dalek. One Dalek takes out a whole complex, so dangerous, so deadly. What a threat this thing is. And then there has never been a Dalek story that has been as frightening as that for me.
That's true.
And they multiply. Like I think the more dogs there are, the less threatening they become, which is kind of weird. Now that you said that like the
They develop
asylum.
stormtrooper aim.
Exactly, yeah, and it's and they're easily to defeat. Like they become roaches as opposed to like those scary Dalek.
Right, you're firing at the eye stalk and you still can't blow it up, and then all of a sudden in Day of the Doctor, you're just blowing up, you're crashing a TARDIS into one and tearing it
Pretty
open.
awesome though. That
It is
pretty
kind of
was
funny
rad.
to
I
see them
loved it.
pop apart, though.
Yeah,
That's
it's
kind of
pretty
fun.
awesome.
Well,
Yeah.
when you have just a few Daleks, they survived.
Yeah.
This is a survivor you're fighting. You are not going to defeat it.
Right.
Like clearly it's already lived through whatever it went through, so you're screwed. But when you have a ship of them, it's like, nah, I'll just warp speed out of here.
And it's the same. It's the same principle that applies, in most horror movies. What you have in the dark is way scarier than when you actually show the
Yep.
monster.
Right.
So it's using what you have sparingly that ultimately makes things more effective. If you're overusing it, if you're constantly oversaturating with all these villains, they do become less of a threat.
Look at the Weeping Angels.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is. It's if the way I think Yael put it was that had they all been working together trying to trap the Doctor, that's using them efficiently.
Yeah.
Just having them all there takes focus away from one of them. And then who's he fighting? Who's the actual threat? Who's leading the charge?
Right.
That's up to us to decide, and then we're all going to disagree.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it not as powerful.
Yeah, but we did get some great moments.
A lot of great moments.
Although I made fun of it earlier. I loved the design of the wooden Cyberman. I thought that was so cool looking, and with the epic flamethrower, which
That's what you made fun of.
Yeah.
Is that something that's wood has a flamethrower.
and it's apparently flame retardant.
Well.
It doesn't get caught on fire except when it blows a hole in itself. Which instead of being a flamethrower, that was like a blaster.
Yeah.
It was like a blast.
Technology, come on.
Yeah,
Different settings.
Different settings, different type of Cybermen.
Sure. I
don't know if it's an upgrade, but
it's.
You will be downgraded.
Yeah.
it will be slightly downgraded.
Slightly downgraded. We don't have the parts. Yeah.
But you are cheaper to make because you're wood.
But the sad thing is a Cyberman it's a person inside of a metal shell. So that was a person inside of a wooden shell that got a hole blasted through its chest.
So this person lost the ability of having their own human life, and instead of becoming a Cyberman, they became a woodman. That's cheating you.
That's depressing.
If you're gonna turn me into a Cyberman, turn me into at least an upgraded Cyberman.
Although I love the new Cybermen. I do not miss Stompy Cybermen at all.
They look very sleek. They look very cool.
Neil Gaiman Cyberman.
I
Yeah.
liked the stompy ones.
Oh, come on,
I felt like those were humans that were forced into this thing. The non-stompy ones feel like those are just awesome and
efficient machines.
efficient machines.
Yeah.
Those are not people.
The stompy ones, those were the first ones I ever saw because Davies' run was my first,
Right.
my introduction to the Cybermen. So
And we still had
I do
Stompy
have a
ones
nostalgia for those.
in Moffat era.
Yeah.
They just never had their own episode.
Right.
Yeah. And it's a fair point.
One of my favorite Christmas episodes had the Stompy Cybermen, the next Doctor.
Yeah.
That one was all them fighting the Cybermen.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great.
It had Stompy Cybermen and it had the wacky, weird, woolly mammoth.
Even to this
ones.
day, I still don't know quite what that was.
Oh, and
It was a dog that was upgraded, guys.
a shout out to Magister Who on Twitter, who apparently has one of the Cyberman masks and has been tweeting me caption photos of him basically in that outfit.
Nice.
So just giving him a shout out because that's pretty rad.
Cosplay every day, people.
Yeah.
There's never a bad time to cosplay.
Cosplay all
Agreed.
day.
I guess maybe at a job interview, but hey, you
I
never know.
disagree.
That's what I'm saying. You never know.
You just cosplay as a businessman. You just cosplay as Don Draper. There you go.
Draper.
Draper. Oh, goodness.
Drapper.
See, I've never actually watched the
He's
show.
dapper. He's dapper, and he's Don Draper.
Oh,
There you go.
And you just
I've never seen
portmanteaued it.
Mad Men. I've only seen it on paper.
It's okay. You're allowed.
That's a funny way to get a slob to dress up in a suit. Oh, you're just cosplaying.
Yeah. Well, no, you could get those weird, semi-slimy, silent suits that they didn't wear this week that they wore in the two-parter. I loved those suits. Those were so creepy. And
I liked them in the suits. I kind of missed that this time
But
around.
it was cool to learn that they had a purpose this
I
week.
was so happy.
Yeah.
They finally explained what they were, who they were, why they were, and what happened to the ones
where
who were
they
trying to
came
kill
from.
them.
Yeah.
That makes complete
But
sense.
then those ones had Dalek in them.
Oh, yeah.
That was so funny.
Oh, we brought back human Daleks.
Which
And then
was,
silence Daleks.
prop-wise, efficient. Whoever the prop master was on that one is like, let's put the Dalek thing on there.
I'm gonna be honest. I had forgotten about that, so when they cut to it, I kind of laughed. I feel bad because I know it was supposed to be dramatic.
I know. It was. When I saw it in Asylum of the Dogs for the first time, I'm like, oh, that's so creepy. That's so cool. And then seeing it again, I'm like, oh my god, they brought it back.
It didn't have that oomph that it was supposed to have this time around.
Yeah. I'm just glad they brought it back because I really don't like when they introduce something about, hey, this monster can do this, and then it never happens again.
True.
And also, it's nice that they brought anything back from Asylum of the Daleks because so much of what happened in that felt like it just didn't stick.
Yeah.
Well, that first scene where I feel like that's from Asylum of the Daleks, right? There's like when he comes in and they're all like,
oh yeah. And they all turn on and they advance on him.
I feel like that has a taste of Asylum.
What bad luck to come in, because he came in, with the Dalek part, and then he comes into the Cyberman ship with the Cyberman head. It's like twice.
Yeah, it found the humor in it. I love it. I love that.
Yeah. Really quickly, let's just, did we cover that one Weeping Angel scene? Let's cover it really quick before we move on.
That was the most disappointing use of Weeping Angels I've ever seen.
I've been waiting. Sorry, just everyone out there. I've been waiting to talk about this because I've been waiting to hear what Yael has to say about it since she told us before we even rewatched the episode.
Let's give it the floor.
She's so mad.
Here's the. They're the creepiest villains. Everyone loves them.
Yeah.
Blink is most people's favorite episode.
Definitely.
Amazing. Then you brought them back with River and Amy, and it was amazing. So wonderful. And then again, River at the end when we lost Amy and Roy. We lost the pawns to the Angels. Yet here they are, buried in the snow, and all they can do is grab her ankle. Oh, that's it. We're done. No more Angels. Ta-da! The episode's over.
Oh, I can't get my shoe off. Oh, you're not wearing a shoe. You're right.
You're
Slip
right.
away.
Done.
You should be in another dimension now, or in another time stream.
Yeah.
Because that's the rule.
Yeah, that's the rule.
Right?
It's like that, or they at least snap off the ankle.
Which they didn't.
Right?
It didn't happen.
He's supposed to either break their wrist or her ankle. Something has to break.
Yeah.
And no one ever gets away from the Angels that quickly, and then just nothing happens.
And then there were just angels on the planet.
Well,
they were just there.
And then when they're trying to pull her ankle out, you're turning away from all the other angels that are there. Episode over.
Poor sweet plot device angels.
They could have been so great.
Yeah.
They could have been the only villain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that would have been epic. We would have loved it.
Yeah. That's the thing with angels. An angel is the most dangerous creature in the universe, or at least has become the most dangerous creature in the universe in the Moffat era.
I think it
let's just
was.
say. Yeah. But when you can't have them and anyone else because they're so dangerous, they require all of your focus.
Yes. Well, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
You have to keep looking at them.
Exactly.
If not, if you're fighting other things, then you're done.
Yeah.
You're focusing on something else.
Good thing those silents were friendly.
And since... Yeah, that was exceedingly convenient, but no, with just how much the people love the Angels and the fact that these are Moffat's babies, I feel like they could have been used a lot better. I agree.
I want to see Clara deal with the Angels. That is something I'd like to see. I think she would finally show us the feisty Clara that we miss and have been waiting for her return. Mm-hmm. I would love to see that happen. I think it would have been great if it was this one. They better come back. They better come back correctly.
Yeah.
And they better come back to fight her.
Well, we're going to talk about Clara in just a moment, and we're going to say a whole bunch. I just want to talk really quickly about iTunes. Folks, thank you so much for watching or listening to this show. We do it for you. We love the fans. We are fans. That's why we do these shows. That's why I spend half my life here at AfterBuzz talking about shows, because I love TV and I love TV fans. This show, it's a free podcast. We do it for free. We don't get paid. And AfterBuzz TV puts out 60 hours of content a week. We're doing 60 shows a week now in this coming winter. It's kind of nuts. We do it for you, and you get it all for free. What can you do to support us? You may be asking. I hope you're asking. I'd love it if you would ask that question.
Ask it.
I ask it when I listen to free podcasts. What you can do, what the best thing you could do, you go to iTunes, the same place that you got this podcast, and you slap us with a 5-star rating. You write a review. Let us know what you think of the show. You know, things we could be doing better. Maybe something we missed in this review that we can talk about.
Of course.
That we can talk about, you know, in the coming year when the new season starts. You know, maybe if we get enough of a big push, maybe we can start doing Doctor Who classics again. I loved doing Doctor Who classics, and it's really a matter of demand. Go to iTunes, say that you want it, give us a 5-star rating. It keeps the show searchable. We want it to be the best #1 Doctor Who podcast on the internet. It lets our bosses know that we're doing our job super well, and it helps us get guests, get set visits, all the kinds of things that we want to bring to this show and make it the best Doctor Who podcast you've ever seen or heard. So thank you so much for your support. We really, really love it and need it, and you're all the best in the world. Now, let's talk about Clara. There's been a lot of disappointment this season, a lot of broken hearts. A lot of people feel misled. I had one. I want to find who tweeted it at me. Someone tweeted me the day after Christmas. Magnificent 17 tweeted, Matt Lieberman, you think Moffat hate Clara? Because I think he has destroyed that character. Sad face. I miss the Victorian Clara. And I think a lot of fans echo those sentiments. I don't think that Stephen Moffat hates Clara, first of all. That's a bit of an overstatement.
I can stand by that, yes.
Yeah. I don't think he hates her. And I still believe, personally, she is still the same strong person that we met in Asylum of the Daleks and in The Snowmen. However, her role on the show has not been the same as it was in those 2 episodes. She has not had opportunities to pull on her resourcefulness. She has brought the Doctor back from the brink. She is constantly saving his bacon, or at the very least convincing him not to do something stupid. She's still important, but her role as companion has felt entirely different to anyone else's in the entire modern run. Namely, she hasn't really had anything to define her other than what the Doctor thinks of her. And for the majority of the season, he didn't trust her. She's impossible. She's a paradox. What is she? Right. Instead of us getting to relate to her as a person, she was a plot device for far too long. And now, all we have is our attachment to Matt Smith, and we don't have enough of an attachment to Clara, which is why I'm so excited about this idea of Peter Capaldi, and what I'm inferring from his first scene is I think that her relationship with him, she's going to need to take care of him, because it seems like some part of his memory isn't there. And that could be from, starting a new set of regenerations. He's been almost completely, done over brain-wise. He doesn't know how to fly a TARDIS. Maybe he needs her more than a Doctor's ever needed a companion before.
And I think that's how he's saving that.
Yeah.
Because she is a plot device. She is... When she kind of defined that she saves the Doctor, there was no point for her to kind of go off on her own or get in trouble, or there's nothing about her other than being the impossible girl. So now with starting anew with Capaldi, I feel like now we have a chance for their relationship, because it's the first person he sees. Now we can maybe start figuring her out.
Yeah.
And I think it's a blank canvas.
Yeah.
And it was a disappointment for this run, but I feel Moffat found a way to, all right, Matt Smith is gone, let's start anew, and this is how.
Yeah. We're just looking for her to make more active choices and be put in a position to make more active choices in the heat of battle.
Yeah.
We saw it a little bit in Nightmare in Silver. and we just want to see her, affecting the events of the show more often. Amy, she was just as important as the Doctor in season 5. You look at an episode like Amy's Choice, it's literally about Amy's titular choice, where she affects whether or not they live or they die. Mm-hmm. She affected the Doctor and kind of like not just the decisions he made, but whether or not they lived or died.
Rory too. Like Rory ended up, and even like the family, like Rory's dad. Like when Rory and his dad were flying that spaceship, I was like super giggly. It was like this so awesome. Like they're kind of as a father and son flying a spaceship. Like I don't know. And so everyone has importance, and I feel like that's Clara never really had any. Besides that, she saved the Doctor.
Well, one of the a friend of mine brought up that she found something online that one of the big criticisms about Moffat writing for Clara is that she was a mystery for him to unravel and not a person. You're absolutely right. So here's hoping that especially when you compare her to the other companions like the Centurion, Bad Wolf, the woman who walked the earth, things like these are really, really, they say a lot about who this person is, and to have, just as someone being a mystery, that leaves a lot to be desired, especially with the way, that she was presented in Asylum of the Daleks. So it'll be, I think you're absolutely right. I think the Capaldi version of the Doctor is going to need her a lot more in this coming season.
Yeah. Yael?
I said after the 50th anniversary that Clara has become this complacent, just thing that's there, and that what we miss is the girl from Asylum of the Daleks and from the Snowmen, that feisty, flirty, vivacious woman. And I think that we saw her through the Cold War.
Yeah,
where
a bit in Cold War.
Where he says to her, wait here, and she does. And in this episode, he gives her the screwdriver and says, go plug this in, and she does, and it takes her home. And that's the end of her. But I think you're all very optimistic about the future with Capaldi, and I hate to be a pessimist. I hope with all my heart that you're right. I hope that there's a good future, that she's going to be this feisty girl again. You were saying last time that she's probably working up to that character, and hopefully now is when she changes, because, as you're saying, he needs her.
Yeah, she has to step up. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that even amidst, her not living up to her potential, I still love every time she's on screen. She's always smiling. She's always funny. So even though that they're not doing everything, that they could with this character, she is still a joy. So I'm really happy that she's still in the show.
She's a very charming screen presence.
Exactly. I mean, she's a great actress. She's fun, which is why I think that's the disappointment, is that we're not attached to the companion. We love her a part of the show. We want her part of the show. It's just we haven't connected to her like we connected with Donna, Martha, like we want to, and I think now we will.
I think that there's a part of that, and I was talking to you guys about this a little bit before the show, where Russell T Davies, in a way to get us to relate to the companions, just as much, if not more so than the Doctor. We had a lot of family stuff when he ran the show. Mm-hmm. We had Mickey, we had Rose's mother. We spent a lot of time on Earth, and we, just about everybody has a family. It makes them more relatable. When you see Rose dealing with her mother, being annoyed, her mom being concerned, we can relate to that because it's something that we can pull in from our own lives. Amy and Rory, you had this romance, and you've all been in relationships or seen relationships, and we can get a window into it that way. Plus, she had sort of her crush on the Doctor, and then have that shift into that romance. Again, relatable. With Clara, we see her 2 times with no family, where she's just shades of herself. And then when we finally do meet her, she's an orphan who's taking care of kids that we don't care about. And
they disappear.
Which, unfortunately, is a trait of orphans, right?
But no offense to orphans. But that's my point, is she has no anchor to the audience. That's why she feels like a plot device. Whereas in this episode, and I think that this is the first step to making her more relatable, we introduce her aunt and uncle and her grandmother, and I'm hoping that we get more.
Her grandmother is so adorable.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She is the new Wilf. I love her.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen her before, though. I honestly either
She looks very familiar.
in Torchwood or something.
She was in, well, I mean,
She was in Classic Who.
yeah, she was in
Okay.
Vengeance on Varos, a Sixth Doctor episode, a serial. I don't know what she played. I just know she was in it. And the aunt was actually the voice of the Atmos machines in season 4.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Can we talk about the turkey?
Yeah, let's talk about the turkey.
Oh no.
That was, to me, it was like, of all the things you could make the TARDIS, it's now a conventional oven. It's amazing.
That looks
It's
so
better.
good.
Is there no kitchen in the TARDIS? There's
Let's
a
just
pool
put it in
and a
the
library.
engine.
Let's just put it in the engine. What? Well, it'll either come out like a treat or it'll start laying some eggs. Either way, we'll have food.
Yeah.
You know.
I haven't had dinner yet at the time that we're taping this, so seeing that turkey again, I was like, oh my gosh, that TARDIS turkey is the
TARDIS
best turkey.
By the way, yeah, now hopefully that'll spark a new Christmas tradition, TARDIS turkey.
TARDIS turkey.
Yeah.
Bigger on the inside.
Oh my gosh, with stuffing.
Yeah, no. If you like somehow remove the rib cage,
We did it, guys.
you know, and then make it bigger on the inside. But I personally, I would have left that turkey in a little while longer. Didn't look quite done to
It
me.
didn't look quite done.
Yeah, the skin wasn't crisp. I want crispy skin,
Well, you know.
personally.
Can we move on from the turkey?
I
I
just
don't
needed to
know.
bring it
I don't
up
know.
because
Can we?
That to me was
Can we?
not a plot point, but definitely we took time with that.
It's a plot hole because they didn't eat the damn turkey.
That's such my thing. That's
I
such a-
wanted them to eat the dang turkey.
Do you think that eating something that's been exposed to,
To
you know,
radiation?
to radiation
To a
from
time
and
vortex?
space, do you think that would cause any problems or some mild indigestion at the very least?
I think it might reverse aging, personally.
So no, we can't move on from the turkey.
No, I
No.
think that this is now the official Doctor Who turkey cast.
Yeah.
And we're going to just speculate on this turkey.
Wonderful.
No,
Turkey companion.
We can move on if you can get me some KFC.
We're gonna move on. I want to talk about paradoxes. You know, the narrative in this episode, it was at times a little confusing. You know, especially considering that we saw the events of Trenzalore in a future in our past, because we saw it in Name of the Doctor.
Yeah.
They interacted with a future where the Doctor had died on Trenzalore. He had lost the battle. That was his grave site. And it's integral to the plot because that's how Clara got strewn through his time stream.
Right.
You have to visit that future in order for that to happen. Now we're in Trenzalore's past. We're changing that future, which has already happened to our characters in the past.
Right.
Paradox. Here's my way of looking at it, where I'm going to say that it's okay.
Okay.
Clara is, in just being in existence, she is a paradox. She should not exist. She is impossible.
Right.
I think that on some level, this is so cheap, the rules don't apply because it's Clara. And if you love the show, you'll just accept it.
Clara, your argument is invalid.
I'm Stephen Moffat's favorite kind of fan. I'll just accept it.
Because Clara.
Because Clara, and she's impossible.
Because there's a paradox within a paradox. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Too many paradoxes.
It just writes itself.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey,
It's
case
timey-wimey.
closed.
That is, I mean, that ultimately is what it ends up being. This is a writer's dream because I justify it anyway. No
Yeah.
matter how you can do, I can just sit there and be like, oh well, time paradox,
Yeah.
a different time stream.
Yeah, two wrongs don't make a right, but two lefts do make an up. That's kind of
And
like
that
what.
up, I introduce something else, and then that distracts you from this part.
Exactly. As long as we're having fun.
Well-
yeah, turkey.
Turkey.
Correct me if I'm wrong. How many paradoxes has Moffat used at the end of each season? Because I feel like for each season
whole
end,
bunch.
there's and I know that Davies used some paradoxes, but I never feel like they used paradoxes to the extent that Moffat
Yeah.
has used paradoxes.
He kind of writes himself into a corner, calls it a paradox, and then moves on.
He does justify things in sentences. Like here we go, it's this, or oh, this happened here.
Which,
and then
like-
they're like, oh, that's answered.
Russell T Davies wouldn't even do
no,
that. He wouldn't even justify his crap.
Yeah, not to say that Davies was a perfect writer by any stretch of the imagination, but
Only with Torchwood.
Yeah. Oh, Children of Earth. It was so good.
spark a whole nother discussion.
That's
Yeah.
a different podcast.
It's a different. That's an entirely
That
different
is.
podcast. Okay, I want to talk. Anybody else just want to throw out fave moments from the episode? Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Go.
The removal of the bow tie. Oh. It was so like, guys, this is it. This is the end.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Tragic.
It's over. Boom. It was wonderful, beautiful,
Yeah.
moving. Oh, it was great. Not that I cried, but it was great.
I have this perverse satisfaction. I have an ex who the entire time that we dated, she was like, "I'll never watch Doctor Who. You can't make me. Everyone says that I'll love it, and that's precisely why I won't watch it." And then sometime after we broke up, I made her watch it, and then she posted a thing last night or 2 nights ago that was just like in tears watching the Christmas special for the 3rd time, and I'm like, "Suck it." Sorry, we have no ill will between us.
So your revenge to her was giving her something to love?
Yeah.
That died.
That died. Oh, Matt Smith? Oh, okay.
Sorry.
You knew this would happen.
I knew it would happen because it's the best show.
I love when Capaldi came on screen. I love when Capaldi's eyes came on screen for the 50th. And when he finally was in form, I was like, here we go. I'm strapping in. Let's do this.
Dude looks like a plucked chicken. He is like a plucked chicken or a skeleton. He's just like all bones.
That is proper skinny. That's a special effect.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I think one of the jokes going around on the internet was "Don't blink." Whatever you do, don't blink.
Yep.
Don't blink or you'll miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true, that was very abrupt. I can honestly say I wasn't expecting them to go that route.
Yeah. Well, when it happened, I was live tweeting when I watched it on Christmas, and I missed it, and I was so pissed. I'm like, "What? You're not going to show? Yeah, you're not going to show them more?"
Did you blink? You
Well, here's the
blinked.
thing.
I blinked. I blunk.
We were talking about how he when he regenerated in that massive
Yeah.
way
When he's
out.
bringing down.
Exactly. Like when he did
the
the fifth
mothership.
element. The fifth element. What do you call it? When he shoots the regeneration, defeats
Yeah.
the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I felt like he wasted all that, and that's where it should have happened.
That would have been the most epic and beautiful regeneration. Yeah, it wouldn't have been as heartfelt, but he said his goodbye to Clara.
Yeah.
And then he used his power to save Christmas and became someone new, and it was so amazing. And then we see the feet walking up
And
the
we all
stairs,
thought, okay, this is it,
and
he's
it was
gonna
be great.
And I mean, don't get us wrong. We loved the goodbye that we got,
yeah.
Yeah.
and the moment with Amy and everything.
Yeah.
The good
Although
night,
Yael
the
didn't
good night
cry.
was great.
I didn't cry.
Didn't cry.
But again, it's your goodnight moon versus your epic space.
It was-
Exactly.
It could have been so epic. Epic is like the only way to explain
Which
it.
is why, that's not what he was going for. He was going for heartfelt moment, even though it was an epic scene.
Right.
Because awesome that the regeneration power can destroy Daleks, can take out Cybermen, can clear all danger that
Well,
was.
do you think the reason that they had that was to explain that what's happened is a new set? Because he did say, when going through and everything, that this is different because it's a new set of regenerations as opposed to just he's regenerating again.
Right.
You know?
He's been given a new as we have delineated from what we heard. He has been given a new set of 13 regenerations
Right.
by the Time Lords.
Well, we were talking about this earlier, that if you take all that wonderful Amy and him explaining the new set of regenerations and the bow tie, all of that, and put it right before the big epic
Yeah.
Yeah.
explosion, it would have worked out really just fine and just as moving.
Right. And obviously, we're saying this in hindsight. Like,
Yeah.
like he wrote a great episode. It was well written. I liked the choice that he made, but I guess I would have done it the other way. I would have done it because to lead to that and then have the steps. That would have just been a heart tug as well.
Yeah.
The new Doctor's there, like, and then that's the first time they're meeting. You know,
Maybe I
that's-
would have cried.
Yeah, I think it would. I think it would have been very, very cool. But then we wouldn't have gotten. I think every Doctor, with the exception of Sylvester McCoy's regeneration into Paul McGann, their regeneration has taken place on the TARDIS, and I have to imagine if the Americans weren't involved in the TV movie, the same thing would have happened.
Who am I?
I know. Oh my God! If you haven't watched Doctor Who the movie, you are missing out. What a strange fustercluck is what I'll call that.
Nice.
Do you know where people can find it? Like,
we-
is it on
I
Netflix?
can't
Can we do
legally
Can we
say.
do an episode? That'd be
I
fun.
would love to Yeah, we'll review Doctor Who the movie.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I can't legally say because it is not available on any streaming service. They can purchase it on Amazon, purchase the DVD. Other than that, you're on your own. Devil's hands are idle playthings.
But we'll definitely recap it for you.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
because
that.
it's
We
so
had
good.
we at AfterBuzz. We watch everything.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Everywhere, all the time.
All the time.
Okay, so we started talking about Peter Capaldi, and we got a little bit into what may come. So does anyone else have any other moments from the episode before we get into pure speculation? I just want to say I love the name Barnable. I don't care.
Barnable!
I know. Some people didn't like Barnable. I love Barnable. I think Barnable's a great
Barnable
name.
died though. That's what. He was insignificant. I loved him. I wanted, he was adorable.
He was supposed to
but-
represent Amy.
Yeah, he was. I'll wait for you. I'll guard the TARDIS.
Yeah. I mean, he echoes. He echoes.
And then there's some
Amy.
other kid that comes and gets.
Oh, can we talk about how apparently some fans think that Tasha Lem is supposed to be River Song?
Yes, there are fans out there who seem to think everyone is River. As you recall, a lot of people thought that when Clara was explained, she was going to be River.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of theories going around the web that she's River because she decoded Gallifrey's message, so she must know something.
Right.
And because she can pilot the TARDIS?
She can pilot the TARDIS, and because the Daleks killed her multiple times.
No, they killed her once.
No, they said that she said that that I died multiple times.
She didn't say multiple times.
She did.
Multiple times?
She may have said several instead of multiple, but she definitely did.
Okay, someone hit me up on the Twitter. Let me know if this is legit. That is not what I remember. It was just I died screaming your name.
You know what? It was when, I remember now, she said that she didn't tell them the name, or she didn't tell them something, the Dalek something, and they said, we know we had to kill her several times. It was said. I'm telling you, it was said. And thus people think she's River.
Yeah, no one's denying. I mean,
He's
obviously,
denying it.
I
He
just
doesn't recall.
I'm sorry. I very rarely just dismiss something outright.
I
and I
dismiss
don't
that she's River.
Yeah, I don't want to discount any of the fans who they believe this, who are very, very nice people. I think that is a dumb theory.
And also,
I love the people.
Start
but
tweeting about that. Tweet if you can, corroborate that, and then also tweet your reasoning why you think River's all over the place.
Yeah, I would love to know.
and
I can
what's
I can
justification?
understand not wanting to say goodbye to a beloved character.
Sure.
I can't say I support that theory or that I believe that that's correct, but I think that just speaks to the fact that there are some people who weren't ready to say goodbye to River when we said goodbye to
wasn't
River.
I think
ready to
that
say
is a
goodbye to
far
River.
better and more diplomatic way
Yeah.
of putting it than what I said.
I just want to be clear that I don't think she's River.
I know.
Fans have said, I'm just repeating.
Yell, no
Right.
one is saying that you think that she's River. You brought this
wasn't
news
ready,
to our attention.
I was not ready to see River go either, but I'm not going to start thinking everything is her.
Well, but here's
in her wake. you know?
Well, here's the thing, right? A lot of fans jumped onto the show in what we can call the River era, from season 4 onward. To them, she is as much a part of the show as the Doctor, as the companion. She is part of the show. So why not have her continue? Because she's part of the show as much as anyone else. Versus the rest of us who, we've been on it longer and we've probably sampled the classic series or even have been watching, since the 60s, 70s, the 80s. and they're like, okay, enough already. Let's get back to basics. And neither camp is right, neither camp is wrong. We're all people, we're all fans. We just love this show.
I get it. I have that same exact feeling towards Jack.
Towards Jack Harkness.
Yes.
Jack,
A lot of
I
fans
miss Jack.
wish that he popped up in the 50th.
Yes, I'm one of them.
He's a
least they
Moffat
made mention to
creation.
Yeah.
I know.
But it's I don't know. Maybe Stephen Moffat feels that his character in tone is different from the show that he's
And
writing right now.
He was in the 5 Other Doctors, that 30-minute special that they did with
which
Peter
I finally
Davies.
watched. It was
Just
very
like,
funny.
They don't film here, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
Jack
That's-
Harkness.
Yeah, come on, Jack.
Yeah.
They gotta bring back Torchwood. Come on, Russell
Yeah.
Davies. Bring it back.
It didn't do gangbuster ratings. All right, we got to talk about Peter Capaldi. We're getting
Thank you.
kicked out. And
We're getting kicked out.
well, it's late. And
You kids, get out of my studio.
I know. Okay, so let's can we go to predictions?
And now, your AfterBuzz TV prediction.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
Spooky.
Super spooky.
Studio's haunted.
So Matt Smith regenerates into the 12th Doctor, or 13th, depending on how you're counting.
First.
Yeah, or the first Doctor, depending on the second Doctor.
Wait.
A1.
And he stares at Clara like a plucked chicken, and he's like, "Don't worry, just one question: how do you fly this thing?" And it says a lot, I think. And maybe I'm overreading into it. I think that, like McGann's Doctor, he will have some portion of his memory gone and will be a bit more helpless.
I think I predict that he'll probably have to this Doctor will start finding out bits and pieces of him as he goes along. I think that's Clara's job. I think that's tying that together. Is that as they venture off, and Clara's kind of taking hold of the Doctor, flying the TARDIS. As they venture off, he'll start piecing things together, and it will tie in something with Gallifrey, because Gallifrey's back. So we have to be there. We have to explore Gallifrey. I feel as a fan, that's what we want, right, friends?
Yeah, and I what I like about that choice, if that is how they decide to go, is we all expected when he was cast that this was going to be, the doom and gloom, like fierce, angry, irascible old man, like old that fine old religion doctor, like when we saw the eyes, like that's what we assumed. But to have it go this other direction, have him be a bit more scatterbrained or helpless.
Mad scientist, like.
Yeah,
That's what I'm hoping for.
That would be great. The absent-minded professor, straight up flubber. What do you guys think?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a fun family show. At the end of the day, and we know that the Doctor, when he gets angry, stuff gets real. When he gets really angry, but I think that if we were to go with him being angry all the time, it wouldn't be as nearly as much fun to watch. And and this is supposed to be fun to watch. We have our dark and our scary moments too, but at the end of the day, again, this is still a kid's show, or more of a family show. As far as predictions go, I want to know what happens with Gallifrey, because they gave him energy from the crack, but Gallifrey didn't quite.
It's a family show.
It's a family show, Yael.
Sorry.
It was a crack. It was a deep
crack
crack.
in the universe.
It was a deep crack with light spilling out of it.
But we didn't see Gallifrey emerge from the pocket universe that it's been tucked away at. So I'm wondering if they crash somewhere, and the Doctor, having to sort of find himself again, has to go back to Trenzalore to free Gallifrey. Like, if him trying to put himself together is what ultimately will help him go and free Gallifrey from sort of being trapped still.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Here's my issue is that I remember everyone getting excited about him being a darker, moodier Doctor, and then I feel and this is a theory in my head, that his first lines, they were like, oh, I guess we got to write something for him. This'll do. And that's what his first lines were. But it's very possible that he's going to be this goofy, mad scientist-y guy. My only hope is that we get back to the Doctor who isn't afraid of monsters. He's a Doctor who wants to help the monsters live peacefully and go home. That's my only request. I miss that. I miss that aspect of the Doctor, and I think that Matt Smith's Doctor was not written that way anymore. He is always going into battle and defending. Yeah. I want to see the Doctor go back to, you know what, let's try to work this out. Let's live peacefully.
Well, we got into that a little bit in the 50th, where it was the man who regrets and the man who forgets. It was David Tennant's and Christopher Eccleston's, guilt over what they had done in the Time War that led them to want to, help people live better lives versus Matt Smith, who was kind of an angsty teenager.
Yeah.
Well, maybe my hope is that while he's searching for Gallifrey, he's remembering to be kinder to others.
I think that's what he's going to... That's the exploration. That's what's going to happen. Because, like, going back to Tennant and Eccleston, like, they punished a lot of people.
Yeah.
No second chances.
No second chances. And, like, a lot of dark stuff happened with those guys because, since they feel so bad and they've done so wrong that they're not going to let you get away with things. Where, as a child like Matt Smith, Doctor... I will go into battle. Yes. Do you know who I am? You know who I've defeated? He's kind of ruffling his feathers a little bit. This Doctor will have that toughness, but I think he'll have to regain and re-explore what he saved, the new Gallifrey, and what was.
Well, and I think something we also kind of have to keep in mind is that Matt Smith's iteration of the Doctor didn't know that if he were to die, that he would just come back again. In his mind, this was his last shot. So if there's a threat, of course he's going to just fight back because he doesn't have any more chances after that in his own mind.
Interesting.
With Capaldi, this is a brand new start for him. So the universe is his oyster, so to speak.
What's interesting about that, like fire and brimstone meets kindly, kind of like timid, kindly child, old man, forgetful, absent-minded professor kind of a thing, is that since this is the first version of his new set of regenerations, it's a fire echo of William Hartnell as the first Doctor, kindly grandfather, stern grandfather, like this fire and brimstone guy who ultimately has a sweet heart. And I think we might get a Doctor that's kind of closer to him, maybe with a bit more of the energy of Patrick Troughton. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm very, very curious because I'm sure that whatever he's going to give us is completely unlike anything we've gotten since Doctor Who rebooted in 2005.
And what I'm hoping for is that sense of adventure and exploration. Because now that he is the first of the new set of generations, like, I want that, like, I want to go here to this planet. Let's explore this, taking someone on an adventure.
Yeah.
That, and he has this huge weight lifted off of his shoulder. It's a relief. It's probably like, let's go.
And Clara is freed of all the plot device constraints of being impossible, of being a mystery. And since she's the carryover, this new Doctor is brand new. I feel like it's more of an opportunity for fans to be attached to her and continue to discover her the same way they're discovering this new Doctor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Okay. Unfortunately, we do have to wrap up. Hopefully, we can start doing some Doctor Who classics. They haven't announced when the new season of Doctor Who will premiere. I'm banking on next fall or by the end of the summer. So hopefully this won't be the last time we see each other before then. But where can the people find you, folks? Yael Tygiel, where can the people find you?
You can find me at yael.tv or on Twitter at Yael Tygiel.
Okay. Megan Salinas.
You can find me on Twitter at The Menguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. AfterBuzz.
Yeah, and the three of us are actually doing the Sherlock After Show starting January 19th. Which is going to be great. Yeah, another Moffat production. Gian Molina, where can the people find you?
You can follow me at Twitter, Gian Molina. And also Doctor Who Live LA. We do an improvised Doctor Who episode every second and fourth Saturday of the month at the Improv Olympic West. mention AfterBuzz and you get a 2-for-1.
Yeah, and I've seen them do it. It's so awesome. You have to go. You have to go. It's great. You can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. You can also find me here on AfterBuzz TV. So many new shows. I'm wrapping up Sleepy Hollow. I'm on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Almost Human, starting the Sherlock after show on January 19th, True Detective after show on January 12th. I'm also doing Banshee and Helix. Those are both coming out on January 13th. That's on a Monday. And I'm also doing betas. We're wrapping up this month, so definitely check that show out if you haven't. It's awesome. Doing so many things.
He also
Such an underachiever.
No.
Matt also lives here.
I also live underneath this desk. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We love doing this show. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Have a great new year. You all rock. And yeah, see you around.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Raggedy Man, good night.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.